Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Leads to Ivy League series. I'm your host Jasmine, and in this series, we'll hear stories from experiences and perspectives that shape young women at some point of the world's leading universities. Today, I'm joined by Natalie Nguyen, whose journey brings together some really interesting worlds: business, sustainability, community service, science, entrepreneurship, and music. What I find especially interesting is that Natalie didn't see these as completely separate experiences. She found a connection between them through creativity, community, sustainability, and business. And that became a major part of how she told her story through her college essays. So, Natalie, welcome to She Leads Too. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you so much for
so
having me.
yeah. So, Natalie, your resume has a little different chapters. So, from music to businesses to science to service, entrepreneurship. But if I took all these experiences away and asked you to describe the kind of person you are outside of these experiences, what would you say?
Yeah, so I think the core of all those, like the connection between all of those, for me is definitely bubbliness, I think, and the ability to be flexible. One thing that I'm actively working on, but also like a goal, is to be flexible not only as a person, but also as a leader. And so within those like certain things, to be able to learn and adapt to the difficulties of each thing I do, but also find a way to be again flexible and combine them in a personal manner is I think one of the basic things that has allowed me to do those things and find passion in them. And furthermore, I think that it's just having a smile with whatever person, every person you meet, and with everything you do is, I think, that's such a big thing as well. Because it really takes a like such a simple thing to do.
Yeah. So, basically, a lot of multitasking.
Yes, multitasking, but also I think other thing I you do bring something up a lot too because I think with multitasking even though like you can be in a lot of different things at the same time, it's also good to
Mm-hmm.
prioritize your core values and
Certain
like
things.
what you actually want to focus on. Yeah, like time management and
Yeah.
whatnot. So yeah.
That's amazing to hear. So you seem to have this combination of being very people oriented while also being very curious about the system and ideas. Do you think you were always like that, or did your experiences develop that side of you? So basically, were you always people oriented? Were you always system oriented, or did the experiences you had growing up make you that way?
Wow, that's a really that's a really good question. I think a good combination of both, honestly, because I think what you do is what you are, and like who you are is what you do
Mm-hmm.
in a certain way. I've done music my whole entire life. So I before I was really conscious, my parents kind of put me in music, but not even forcefully, but like growing up through it, I kind of saw music. I kind of saw the world through a different lens through music. And just like the ability to not only develop kind of like skills first, but also the ability to be independent, the ability to be creative, and the ability to just practice at something at a young age. I think that allowed me to be curious about like, wow, like music is not just music, it's applicable in different fields as well. And so I think that has also allowed me to develop like creativity like elsewhere as well. So I think a good
Yeah.
combination of that. But I think the experiences
Okay.
have definitely helped me with like the people within it.
Yeah. So you say you're more people oriented.
Yes. Yes, I think through that as
Okay.
well.
That's nice. Okay, so I want to talk about something that I think a lot of ambitious students struggle with. So when you look at your high school activities individually, from Stuco to Senate to DECA, that's DECA, science clubs, band, entrepreneurship, volunteering, they could almost look like you're interested in completely different things. So at what point did you realize actually these aren't random? This is basically your story. So at what point did you see all these things and you didn't see them as just different things. You basically just saw them as who you were and part of your story.
Oh, what? Wow. I think it was definitely during the college application process,
Hmm.
honestly. It's
Yeah,
like I think that period it's a really hard period of time, but I also think that it is such a long period of reflection and kind of like who I want like this is what I've been doing, so how do I want to put it together to describe who I am? And I think
yeah,
I most recently was the part because I think during high school I just did things that I was attracted to and I was curious in. And so was it kind of all over the place? Yes, but I think when I was writing about them and then putting the activities together, I think it just naturally became the picture of who I am. And so that's why I think like the biggest thing is like I didn't go into high school with a certain like career projector or like or anything that I was like I really want to do this, so I'm gonna do A, B, and C. I did things in the general field of business and the general field of things I've already doing my whole life, like music, but I didn't have a set plan. But I think that allowed me to create who I am naturally and then write that story after instead of trying to put a narrative and trying to fit into that beforehand, I think.
yeah. Okay, so another like interesting question. So I want to ask, did you ever feel pressure to make yourself look more focused for college application? So I could imagine that basically you're writing your essay and you're all over. You're in music, you're in business, you're in entrepreneurship. So did you ever think that your variety of interest basically could have made you indecisive on what you wanted to do in your application? Did you ever think it was like a tug of war or something? Should I re-explain the question?
Honestly, like I think during that period, I don't know, I think it makes sense of like feel pressure. I think are you asking if I felt like pressured to be a certain way or like a tug of war, like
Yeah,
which ones to
to
choose?
be focused, yeah, on a certain path. Yes.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm really indecisive at heart, like not even just with like my career, but like making
Yeah.
simple decisions in general. So 100%, I didn't like because sometimes like within like not sometimes, it's really common, but in such a diverse school, who everyone has their separate ambitions, and sometimes a lot of people have a plan of what they want to do, and there's a lot of peers around me that did have that, and so I think by junior
Mm-hmm.
year I was like, wow, I like everyone has these dreams of getting into such a top school, and then now I feel like I have to do this activity, this activity, this activity.
Yeah.
And so while it felt competitive and I did feel a little bit I did feel pressured. I felt like I was lacking in some things. I think taking a step back and realizing that I'm doing the best I can. I'm gonna do the activities that I'm willing to do, not that I'm like being forced to do just because it's the most competitive in my major or it's the most
Yeah.
prestigious thing to do as a junior. I think just trying my best and I'm not I definitely will say that I was really not this best, not the super most confident person during junior senior year. For sure. It was definitely like a, oh my gosh. It was a constant like, okay, I'm doing this, but like what else is this other person doing? Oh, like am I not doing enough? But looking back at it, there was definitely pressure, but looking now, it's I think it was part of the process, but definitely not essential to be kind of like set on a certain path in high school.
Yeah. That's nice to hear. Okay, so you talk about your musicality, right, as part of your creativity. So what does being creative actually mean to you?
Yeah,
So
I
what will
think
you yeah.
I love this. Yeah, I love this topic because it goes back to being flexible
Mm-hmm.
and how so I grew up playing the piano and I think like Mozart, Beethoven, like the very classical music you put on in the background to study. And so like that was more rigorous, more like technical. You have to get this right, this right, this right. And then so when I joined high school, I was looking at certain bands to play in. But I like in elementary school we do like we learn a new instrument, but when I went to middle school they didn't have bands, so I kind of lost touch with the clarinet. So I was like, oh, let me see if there's a jazz band to play piano in. But jazz and classical music are so different. Like they're the complete opposite. It's funk versus technical, and so I struggled a lot then. Like I did not know how to play. Like I thought I knew how to play the music. I did not. But I think over that the 4 years of being in jazz band and like learning the freedom of jazz and how it's very
Mm-hmm.
funky has taught me that like I thought I knew piano, but here's a different way to look at it. Here's a different way to play. And so that's what I
Yeah.
think about creativity. It's just the ability to be in different things, but find new ways to adapt and find new ways to express yourself, while still using the same tools you have, you know? So yeah, definitely a new learning curve that I went through in high
Yeah.
school.
So like your creativity is basically unique to you as a person.
Yes, I think that's
Okay.
it was developed through music for sure, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So your prom dress initiative, right? So where does this idea come from?
So ironically, I was talking to one of my uncle's friends, and I was a sophomore at that point, and we were talking about prom, and I'm just like really I love the idea of prom. Like every single year I love to seeing the different styles because even across a year the styles change, and just the idea of it, I loved it. And we were talking about like my prospective prom, and he was like you should look up the Cinderella Project. Like there, it's a initiative where girls can get this kind of prom dresses, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. But I never thought about it then until my junior year, and I have a lot of upperclassmen friends at that time, and they were like, oh my gosh, this prom dress is like $500, and like I have to alter it, and then it's hard to find cheap ones that are like you can try on in person and whatnot. And then I had a lot of other of my family members. I like it was really coincidental. Like at the time, one of my family members was like, "Hey Nat, like I have an old prom dress like you can wear for your junior year." And so she just gave it to me because she was a family member. And so I thought back to the Cinderella Project, and I was like, that's such an interesting concept that I haven't heard of Nashua. So I looked it up on Instagram, just a Cinderella Project, and I reached out to this girl in Connecticut that had one at her school. And I kind of wanted to also introduce a chapter of the Cinderella Project in Nashua. And so we had an Instagram account, and we kind of collected we have a few schools in our city, our district. So I contacted some of my friends from there if they can set up prom dress drives there as well. So we collect dresses, and then we have a clothes closet within our school. So not even just prom dresses, but any free clothing that you just want to donate. It's just a free resource for any student to grab anything. And so our prom dresses reside there. So it's a nice free resource
Mhm.
to like repurpose, recycle, because prom dresses most likely are worn only one time or two times if you find
Yeah.
another event after prom. So, and then another person can grab one of like a certain style of prom dress that they would like, without being a financial burden.
That's actually amazing. I think that the initiative, first of all, reflects who you are as a person and basically what you chose to do for your community. So that was really amazing. And I think making other girls smile, obviously, on a special day like prom, would have been really heartwarming to you as a person.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really sweet because I you hear I didn't think about it until I started actually like kind of selectively hearing for it because even
Yeah.
even my during my prom it was like these dresses are gorgeous, but it's really sometimes it's hard for people to kind of justify the price for an event that they should go to.
Yeah.
Like everyone should feel welcome and beautiful on their day. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Okay, so you have worked at Kumon, right? Kumon, and
Yes.
volunteered with Engine, where you worked directly with children. So, how did those experiences affect the way you think about people as opposed to just thinking about the ideas of businesses?
Yeah. So Kumon holds a really special space in my heart because I went there when I was a younger kid. It's a tutoring
Hmm.
center, math and reading. And so that's another thing that my parents wanted me to do because they didn't really they learned English through like shows and stuff like that. So they make
Yeah.
sure I developed it in separate as well. So I did
Yeah.
that like for like 10 years. It was
Yeah.
additional homework. So of course when I was younger, it was kind of like, well, I have to do more homework, like on top
Yeah.
of school, even though I wasn't really, it was like fifth grade. But, but then I started to realize that like it wasn't the goal wasn't to be ahead of my classmates in the classes and to know like algebra instead of other things at a certain age, but it was the fact that it allowed me to develop like independence and like confidence to be able to learn. And at such a young age, I think that was very empowering. And so when I went back to work as an instructor, like I've known my boss when I was 4, so she was like another open arm, but the ability to like help the kids that also were in the same spot as I was is kind of like a full circle moment. And so the ability to like teach kids and see them grow has translated into the way I just approach people in person, not just
Yeah.
and just businesses, but also like how every corporation, every business, they have an audience. And so being able to go to school and then talk to friends my age and then communicate to teachers, which are adults, and then go after school to talk with kids has allowed me to kind of talk to every single type of age kind of daily. And so, again, back to the value of personability I talked about in the beginning of how just to be able to adapt and like get to know each person
Mm.
regardless of age, regardless of like where they're in right now. Kumon and Engine have definitely impacted me and allowed me to be more open-minded with every
Yeah.
single person I talk to.
That's amazing. So basically, for Kumon, you basically gave back to like an organization that gave to you.
Yeah, yes, 100%. And it was like kind of like
Yeah.
cute because they're all like K through 8 depending on them. And so it was really cute. Sometimes kids can be a little bit of patience type of thing, so that's taught me a little bit of that too. But yeah, 100%. Really,
That's
sometimes the
amazing.
work days are long, but the kids are really cute.
Okay, so we have talked about your resume, your projects, your creativity, and your approach to businesses. So I want to see how we can capture your personality as well. So this is like a little game. So it's going to be we're going to call
Okay.
it like yeah, build your dream life basically. So it's going to be this or that kind of thing,
Okay.
right?
Oh, okay.
So so it's going to be so the first one is build your own startup or become a creative director for a major brand.
Wait, hard off the bat. I think
Just no pressure, no pressure.
this is what I mean. I'm indecisive. Oh my goodness, this is the perfect game for me. Okay, I
I
think
did you
I'm
did
right.
say you're indecisive though. But
Yeah,
like where do you see
we're just
yourself?
putting that full. Yeah, I definitely think I have an inclination towards the being creative director of a major
Mm-hmm.
brand because while I love to like create my own things, I just feel like if it's a major brand that I know and I love, I would love to
Yeah,
like be able to be of something that I already love, but then also see a part of me
yeah.
in it and like work with other people. That makes sense. But
Okay.
maybe a startup, but I think right now creative
Uh,
director.
Creative director. Okay. So perform on a huge stage or pitch an idea to a room full of investors.
I think perform in front of a huge stage.
Perform.
I
Okay.
do love presentations, but performing is definitely a bit more fun.
Spend a year traveling and learning for communities around the world or spend a year building one major project.
Traveling around the world and communities because I feel like I even regardless of if it's for business or community service or just I just want to travel the
Mm.
world in general. So if I'm able to help communities at the same time, do that.
Okay. So work with a small team where everyone knows each other or lead a huge organization.
Oh, I don't know. I I think small team for sure. Who everyone knows each other.
Okay. Okay. Okay,
Mm.
that works.
Yeah,
Okay, so give up social media for a year or give up music for a year.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Can I play like music on social media? Mm. I don't know. I'm like a big screen age.
You're having such a hard time.
Yeah, that's like oh my goodness. Okay, I would I think I would give up music for a year because I'll just find it on social media.
Okay. All right. So the last one. If you had to create a completely ridiculous business tomorrow, what would you sell?
Like ridiculous as in like funny and humorous. Hmm.
Like just out of this world, like just crazy, something crazy.
Hmm. Like can I go like teleportation level? Like I would
Of of
where like
course,
if
that
we were
works.
in like a future where that was available, then like spots where you can just like teleport and spawn
Yeah,
anywhere. Like you would save
I
so much
would definitely
cost and
use
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you eventually had an opportunity, right, to create something like something that is heartfelt, something that means a lot to you, what would really be? Something that tells your story.
Heartfelt. I have a couple if we're going like startup route. I
Mm-hmm.
was actually looking into this because at Sephora they actually have something called I think something packed initiative, and you can drop
Mm-hmm.
off old beauty supplies and like recycling for them because I know that recycling for beauty stuff can be a little bit hard because there's product and whatnot. And so I love that idea. And like I think Summer Fridays, like the skincare brand,
Yeah.
they have like if you donate 4 used tubes, you get like a $25 gift card. And I would love something like Universal, like a beauty brand like
Mm-hmm.
that. Not just makeup, but like everyone uses
Yeah.
shampoo, everyone uses like toothpaste and whatnot. And so a way to recycle all of that and maybe like get companies into more sustainable ways, maybe offering coupons or whatnot, like something like that, like a circular initiative
Yeah.
that is sustainable, but also allows kind of also on the brand side, on the business side, more visibility and more room for them to be sustainable in their brands. Because I think everyone has a little bit room to be green and stuff.
Yeah.
Or I
That's
think
amazing.
another thing that I actually saw one of the clubs at my school helps to go like goes to the nursing homes in our community and they help the elderly use technology and that was so cute. But I
Oh,
also heard a lot yeah, I heard a lot from our band teachers about like kids and stuff like that and so maybe
yeah.
having kids kind of perform a concert for the nursing homes would be really cute because I
That's
think music is
nice.
the universal language. So maybe one of those. Maybe.
Yeah. I wish you luck though. I wish you luck.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay, so there's a theme that keeps on coming up in your story, right? So you did really choose between being creative or being academically curious or serving your community and being interested in business. You just found a way to let those things exist together, which is so amazing. I think that's something I find so incredible about you. Like when I was reading your story, I was like, huh? Like just from different angles, I was like, oh, this possible like basically real life Barbie, right? You can
Oh
do
my gosh,
anything.
we are all
Yeah, that was
Barbies.
actually the
Thank
first thing I
you.
thought, to be honest. So if you could go back and talk to your younger self before you had everything figured out, what would you tell her?
Oh, this question gets me so bad. My younger self. That it's okay to be interested in a lot of things and not know
Yeah.
what you're doing. I think right now, as I'm about to enter another chapter of my life,
Yeah.
that being uncertain is very okay. And sometimes you don't have to know everything. Like whether
Yeah.
like in school, like academically, like or or just in life in general, or what are you gonna do for tomorrow? I sometimes think that she was a little focused on trying to expedite the process of finding herself. But I think
Yeah.
that just trusting myself, herself, just trust in general that like regardless of what
Yeah.
happens, just be true to her in that like you will find out why something's happening for a
Yeah.
reason or what you're gonna go down a certain path. Like I truly believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think after everything has happened, I believe it now, but then like if I were to tell my younger self that
Yeah.
I think just to keep repeating everything happens for a reason because I truly believe in that.
Yeah. So, of course, you're starting college this year. You're an Ivy League girl. So, what do you expect? Obviously, you don't have an experience right now in college. So, I'll ask, what do you expect? What do you think Ivy League is like? Or, yeah.
I don't know. Like it's like kind of it's because my whole 9 months of applying for
Yeah.
college, waiting for them,
Yeah.
I was looking at more local schools and not just like there are schools that are definitely great, amazing schools, but
Yeah.
they're more like smaller and like more personal to them. And then but I went to the farthest school away from me and definitely the name brand. So that is definitely a big change, like kind of the reputation and whatnot. But I was talking to my friend of mine and she was saying how like it's really not like a school built up of the top of the top. It's a class, and I think that's a really big thing I'm looking forward to is the diversity of people and how
Yeah.
we all bring a part of something that they're looking for. And I'm excited for to meet people of all different disciplines, but also get to know my program really well and get to join a lot
Yeah.
of clubs because there's a lot of experiences there. So yeah,
That's amazing. I can't wait to see your experience and just all the amazing things you do.
thank you
Good
so
luck,
much.
basically. Okay,
Yeah,
so
thank you.
finally, for the young women listening who feel like they have too many interests or who worry that their passion don't fit neatly into one career, one story, what would you let them know?
Yeah, I think that everything can fit in everything somehow. I'm not saying that they like
Yeah.
sometimes you should force a connection, but if I could ask a young woman like their top 10 favorite things and if they can just ramble and ramble for hours about it, then they have their story right
Yeah.
there. 'Cause if you can naturally talk about it and brain dump, you're 100% passionate about it. And I think it's deserving to be there, even if it's not necessarily in the field that you want to be in. Like sometimes I've seen a lot of my friends have an engineering or business EC and they're going to medical in the medical field. And that doesn't matter because it shows a side of you that is essential to a different field and a different side of you. So obviously don't try to make everything fit and make yourself the perfect person. Just make yourself you and how connect it back to your roots, connect it back to what you love to do and who you are for sure. But everything has a connection.
So, Natalie, thank you so much for being here and for
Thank you so
sharing your
much for having me.
story with us. I think what makes your journey particularly interesting is that you didn't try to force every part of yourself into the same box. You allowed your interest in music, business, science, sustainability, and community to influence one another, which is so amazing. And ultimately, that became your unique perspective and your unique creativity as well. Thank you for giving us a glimpse into the experiences behind your journey and for reminding us that sometimes most interesting stories are the ones that don't follow a straight line. And to everyone watching or listening, thank you for joining us for another episode of She Leads to Ivy League series. We hope today's conversation encourages you to look at your interests differently and recognize that the things that seem unrelated today might actually become the foundation of something meaningful tomorrow. So we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.